Okay, in this video we're going to explore displacement reactions with the idea of looking at it in terms of a redox reaction. So remember, redox means reduction and oxidation. And just to remind you, to help us understand reduction and oxidation, we have the word oil rig. And oil rig stands for oxidation is loss of electrons and reduction is gaining electrons. So there's going to be my displacement reaction. I've got sodium chloride reacting with fluorine. Fluorine is more reactive than the chloride ion, so this will displace the chlorine from here. So we'll end up with sodium fluoride, and we will displace the chlorine from the compound. In terms of turning this into a formula equation, balanced symbol equation, so we've got sodium chloride, we have got fluorine, remember this is diatomic, and that will make sodium fluoride and chlorine Cl2 because it's diatomic. We need to balance that, so we put a 2 in there and a 2 in there, and we have a balanced equation. Now what I want to do is I want to look at this in a bit more detail in terms of the ions and how the ions are changing. So to help with that, I'm going to separate these out. So here I've got Na plus and Cl minus. This is ionic compound sodium chloride. So Na plus Cl minus, I'm just going to do that, and I've got 2 of those. F2 is covalent, so there's no ions involved there. And that's making sodium, Na, and F, and there are 2 lots of this, and Cl2, okay? Now if you look at this carefully, what you will notice is there are some ions in here that don't change. For example, Na plus is still Na plus. They're spectator ions. I'm going to remove them from the equation. But the chloride ion Cl minus has become Cl2, and the F2 has become a fluoride ion, so I'm going to leave those in. So my ionic equation for this becomes 2 lots of chloride ions, F2, making 2 lots of fluoride ions and Cl2. That's my ionic equation, taking out the spectator ions. If you want this to another level, let's just look in terms of redox, which is what we're trying to do here. My Cl minus, so Cl minus, and there's 2 lots of that, has actually turned into chlorine Cl2. Now to do this, these electrons here that's represented by this minus charge have to be lost. So here I will have lost 2 electrons because there's 2 ions releasing 2 electrons. And if you remember at the top, loss is about oxidation. So this part of the reaction is an oxidation reaction. And if we do the same for the second part, here's my F2, and my F2 is going to become 2 fluoride ions that are negative. How do you make something with no charge become negative? You gain electrons. So it's going to pick up 2 electrons to form a negative ion. This is gaining electrons. Gaining electrons is reduction. So this is a reduction reaction. And just to remind you, we said at the beginning this is redox. You have reduction and oxidation. Therefore, you have a redox reaction.